Hello. Oh, there, I think we're live. Uh, Good evening. I'm Kevin Kimble, and welcome to State of the Union, sponsored by the Culture Network and the Culture Commission station. I'm president of CEO of Financial Service Innovation Coalition. This is our third or fourth episode, so thank you all for listening in. Tonight's episode is two of my favorite people. They've actually had cameos on here already, but the one's Martin Mason from New Jersey, the FSIC New Jersey initiative, and the other is Apostle Markita Brooks from Richmond. Markita, remind me, your new initiative is called the
Central Virginia Economic Initiative.
There we go. So, and so for those who are listening, in case you're wondering why we're having guests who already been on here before, this is a very specific reason. One, New Jersey and Virginia will both have elections, gubernatorial and statewide elections tomorrow. And both of these people are very aggressive in advocacy. And I'm going to drill on this for a couple of weeks of this conversation about advocacy and inclusion. So, again, I'll start this out by saying everyone always asks me, when I tell them, we talk about the problems, I have all this data because we're a think tank, and I tell you, like, black wealth in Boston is $8. Blacks in New Jersey get 0.14% of the government contracts. But we just go down to some people say, well, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? And inevitably, when I tell people what they can do about it, they don't want to do it. So Martin and Markita are perfect examples of what happens when people actually engage, when they ask the question, what can you do? And they're told and they actually do it. So we're going to start there because I'm kind of tired of hearing people always complain about no one else telling them what to do. No one tells them anything, then you give them something to do and they don't want to do it. So we'll start with ladies first. Markita, if you could kind of just, you started the new initiative, you can do a short intro about how you got to this place and why you decided to take that action, and then we'll turn to Martin.
Well, as I recently shared with you, I've done a little bit here, working with people who are running for office or doing things within a party or been at city council or even going up to Capitol Hill, but not really seeing the type of change that, I think is important for our local communities, but also on the state and the federal level. And so when I was connected with you guys, I realized that you are, really influencing change on a regular basis and issues that matter in everyday people's lives. And so for me, that's exactly what we ought to do. But the more of us that do that, the more effective it is. And so I've certainly worked on a task force with you, and I've worked with other people in other different initiatives. The reason, I'm starting this initiative in Central Virginia is because, we're actually much more powerful when we come together. And so the goal is to actually bring businesses and ministries together, concerned citizens together, so that we can influence change in our local community at the state level. And that's going to affect the federal level too.
Thank you. Martin?
What was the question again, Kevin? I'm sorry.
How'd you come to this, to this place where you're actually doing, instead of asking what can someone do or someone should do something, to I'm gonna do something?
Was it a combination of things, really, Kevin, to be honest with you? And I think first and foremost, 64 years old. I did some things right in my life and some things not so right, like most people. Coming to, time for retirement, I hadn't saved up enough. I'm an entrepreneur. I've had some big wins and I've had many losses, a lot more losses than wins. So this was going to be one of my last rides. And I'm working with my cousin. She brought me on board to her trucking company. I partnered with her, became a business development person. We tried to get some government. We did a lot of things, but one of the things we did was try to get some government contracts. And when I found out what was going on with government contracting, I got angry, really angry. So out of that anger of not being on a level playing field and out of desperation, this is my last ride and I've got to make something happen. If I want to live a decent life for the rest of my life, I got to make something happen now. I don't have a choice. And so between the two, the anger and the desperation, I said, talking, it's just not going to get it. I've got to do something. And so, Kevin, you simply said to me when I called you angry about what was going on and what you had discovered and clued me into, and I'm sitting there ranting and saying this is rotten. I can't believe this. This is terrible. And you sat there and calmly listened to me and let me vent. And then you said, in just this common fashion, well, what are you going to do about it? And I said, I got to think about it, Kevin. Give me a couple of days. I'll get back to you. And so I said to myself, there's got to be people out there who, if they know what I know, must be as angry as I am. And if they don't know what I know, they need to know. And once they know, they will be as angry as I am. So I didn't think I could be a leader or anything. I thought I could just spread the word and a bunch of us would go do something. And so it's worked out kind of like that, not exactly like that, but things are happening. People are doing things, and a lot of things are happening. So to make it real short, anger, desperation, and being sick and tired of just being run over made me step up and do something.
For both of y'all. Well, first, let me take a second. We did an event with the Culture Commission down in Houston several months ago, and when it comes back to what can you do, when this opportunity was presented to come down and give some very similar conversation in Houston, because Rob asked us to come and explain that people need to hear some of this stuff. You guys both packed up and came to Houston, and you spent your own money, you did all that stuff. I mean, we've had this conversation with other people about resources and not having resources, or people not wanting to give resources. And I do want to take a second that you guys both have put in a lot of your own resources into this stuff. I mean, this is not, there's no free ride in this process, right? And I do think there's when people ask me what can I do, and I tell them it's inevitably, the president of SCLC said the other day that if he said on the show that when someone asked him for what they can do, he said, "You can give me $1,000." That ends every conversation, right? I see we got Yusuf. Hi, Yusuf.
Hey, what's going on? I nothing. I know y'all having a great show. I'm just popping on. We're over here actually at one of the giveaways, one of the Field of Backpack giveaways. Me, Rob, we're over here. So Chairman, Culture Commission Coalition. So they got a Field of Backpack thing with the kids. They got a bunch of pizza and are working with the parents to let them know that this is a reoccurring thing that's going to be happening. It always happens, but they're going to kind of ramp it up for what's going on right now. So we're always about the tangibles, not just about kind of talking about it, but go ahead and put it in action and get it in action with those that are already working on it.
Awesome. Thanks for popping on.
National Park. That's right. And real quick, if I don't mind, I don't mean to interrupt your program, but I wanted to introduce you guys to the founder of the organizer. She could tell you exactly what's going on today.
Hello, everyone. So we're doing a food drive for the community, and also we're doing an event called Snack the Backpack, where we're letting kids bring in their school backpacks empty, and they fill them up just as much as they can with snacks. And we got all different kind of snacks, from chips, hot chips, cookies, candy, Capri Suns, gummy bears, everything. So we wanted to, and we wanted to make sure, just because the government shut down, we still want to make sure that these kids get the nourishment and the snacks that they need. So definitely, this is why we're doing this event, and we're going to do it every day until they open back up.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for all your hard work.
Gotta let them know we're not shut down. They might be shut, but we're not.
We've always been shut out of the government. We've never been. So the shutdown is just somebody else's problem. So thank you. So we were down there in Houston. So as you can tell, this show is not a show. It's a conversation. So who knows who might pop on. We're waiting for Malika may show up from New Jersey as well. But how do we get people, right? Like what they're doing in the Culture Mission. Everyone's got these pieces, but how do we get people engaged in advocacy like you? I mean, what key words did y'all hear that got you engaged? Because it doesn't. I mean, you are rarities. Like, you guys are rare birds in this space, right? There's not that many people who are willing to reach out to. I would say this too. I'm gonna going to talk over myself, right? But both of y'all have sent letters to members of Congress on issues. Both of y'all have reached out to governors and other candidates, on policy, and both have taken time. Before you got to this place, if I were to ask you to find me 10 more people to do that, what do you think it would take to make that happen, Markita?
Well, I think one thing that Martin and I have in common, he mentioned he's an entrepreneur. I am too. I have a construction company. I co-founded them. Class A contractor, and have another business, a coaching business, Kingdom Wealth. And the ministry I lead, I started it. And so we know firsthand that if we want something done, we have to do it. Like we know that in our own lives. If we want something to get done, we're going to have to get involved. And so just like Martin was saying, he'll know how he became a leader. It's because he's doing stuff. And so people are looking for somebody to do stuff, and they might help, they might jump on. And so you got to, let people know that it really is their right and their responsibility, because that's not what people are told. Yeah. And so we've got to kind of rewrite that narrative, let them know that you've got to get involved for change to even happen at all. Yeah.
Martin?
Yeah. And I think also, when you think what, the past, what's in the present, and what lies in the future. And, the future doesn't look all that bright for so many of us, so many young people coming up behind us. When you think about those things, and then you think about all that's been done for us, right? Our history, all the Black people who suffered, and on and on, and you think, well, you stop and think for a second. Well, I see all of this stuff that's not right. I know all that's been done for me. I see what the people coming after me are going to be dealing with, and what have I done? Like, what have I done? And if you say I haven't done anything, then you owe it to yourself to be able to go to bed at night and say, I'm not just watching this stuff and letting it happen, right? I have to say, I tried. My last words, I tried, right? So how do you get people to get in that headspace? I guess, remind them, give them the information, like remind them that here's what's going on. Did you see what happened today with Wells Fargo settled a lawsuit where there was a law that said they had to interview so many Black people. They faked the books. Got caught. Well, all they had to do was interview the people and not hire them, but they didn't even want to see them. They didn't even want them coming in the office.
Yeah.
That's what law's on the books. So in the future, the kids graduating from school now who are going, they won't even have interviews.
Right. Well, they won't have the rule that should say they have to interview, whether they do the interviews or not. Right.
Correct. So I guess giving people information and shaking them and getting them to realize this is the situation we're in. This is the reality. This is your reality. This is truly your reality. And when you realize this is your reality, I mean, my God, do something about it.
We talk about this a lot, and both of you, we talk about this a lot. And I don't know how many people in the audience are live or who can talk in, but if anyone here who's on the audience who's actually thought about it but never did engage, or they've reached out to their members of Congress, or they've done something like this, I would love to hear from them and chime in. But we always say that like it takes a lot to get people engaged. Like we've been ignored so long that it's a muscle that's you just can't start from scratch. So we'll do these events, and I always say to you guys, when you do them, if you get 5 people, you've done more for civil rights than anyone in like the last 30 years. You guys know you guys know people who have jobs who are doing well. I mean, when you talk to them about this stuff, assuming you do, what do they say about why they're not doing more?
People have lots of different excuses. Everybody's really busy. Mm-hmm. And some of that is profitable, and some of it is distraction, Mm-hmm. But everybody's got their plans that they've already got in place. And then others say they don't really know where to start. And so what I like about connecting with you all at FSIC is that you provide direction. You provide direction. You've also done some research. There's some things you've got in the works. There's some guidance that you provide. So really, there's no excuse. You talked about us coming together. We meet, once a week, and that's not even every week. It's for about 15 to 30 minutes, and so you've taken away all the excuses. I don't have time. I don't know what to do. I'm not sure what the numbers really say. You guys take all those excuses away. And so if you're actually interested, now you don't have an excuse.
So we won't leave you nowhere to run, right? What do you, Martin? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, you said what do people say when you talk to them, especially the haves.
People have the wherewithal to do something. Yeah.
Right, people the haves, right? So I guess the real thing is you don't have the conversation with them. They don't give you that opportunity to talk about being sidestepped. Bring it up. Bring it up. Sit back. I mean, when you really roll up your sleeves and get your hands in it, then it opens your eyes to a lot of things, right? That a lot of people don't know. So when you get with these people and they have the topic comes up, when you open your mouth, and when the stuff that comes out of your mouth hits their ears, that's when you get the sidestep. Ooh, this is too much for me, right? He's talking about me, and not that I'm talking about anybody. I'm just laying it out. Like if you say what's going on and like what you're talking about, how few Black people come to the meeting, or how few Black people give, or how what I've found is it's a lot easier to get something done than you would realize, right? It is. And that is the saddest part of all of this. I know that if I send out a letter, if I have 500 signatures and there's no reason I shouldn't, something will happen. That letter, they will take notice of that letter. And then the context of that letter, which I get from FSIC, is the real stuff. It ain't no joke. Right? They realize that when we've had people read, Kevin has given to me from FSIC some policy proposals and things that we sent out. And we've had people who read the letter say, hold up. I had a guy who was mayor of Jersey City, New Jersey, was running for governor. We wrote to him, or we put some of these proposals in front of him. I get an email, Martin, can you give me your cell number so I can call you direct? Right? That's what happened. Or we sent out something that one of the first things we did, Kevin's talking about sending out letters. One of the first things we did was send out a bill proposal for the tax bill. And we sent it to all our representatives. And one of them actually signed off on it, right? So that happened February, I got involved. We had our first meeting in February. This happened within 2 months later. I'm responsible for helping a bill proposal go to Washington.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. Me, right? Yeah. And my little organization was little, so it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much at all. But Kevin, once you, I think some people, especially if they've done a lot and have a lot, and you bring something like that up, and they look back on their lives and say, "Well, ooh, man, I don't want to have this conversation." I guess is what they say, and so I don't know how to break through that. I don't.
Well, I know I'm beating a dead horse, but I'm doing it for a reason. Right? I mean, they asked me to do the show. You guys know me. Like we're gonna do what we're gonna do here. There's only one purpose, which is to make this better, and we can't get better if people don't do their part. I mean that, and us letting them off the hook is not gonna do that. So this is what we're gonna talk about. As long as I'm doing this platform, we're gonna keep every week. There's gonna be another person who's doing something, talk about why other people aren't doing something, until I don't have any more people asking me what can I do, and I tell them what they can do, and they don't do it. It's ridiculous. Now, especially now I've seen you guys, like now I know it's possible. Like, it's not like it's impossible. So we're gonna have a little fun. We're gonna do some policy. I'm gonna start with you, Martin, on this one, because I know as much as you can talk about the newer process. So for those who are watching, New Jersey is a place where the disparity studies came out. Contracting is horrible, and there's like 4 or 5 cities in Jersey that have Black mayors, fairly larger cities, where there's all this affirmative action and stuff on the books, but no one's doing anything about it. So Martin's picked up a new project. And so, Martin, talk a little bit about it if you're able to.
Well, we first of all, I got involved in this because of government contracting, and then so on a state level, we found out that African Americans equated to about 10% of the eligible businesses that are going after contracts. 10%. And over this 5-year study, it was found that we got 0.14% of the contracts, so virtually nothing. So that's what angered me so much. That's what got me started in this, right? Like Kevin explained to me, and like I found out through research and stuff. If you want a real viable business, you want to build a legacy business. Major companies start with government contracts. That's their nucleus. That's their strength. Their pillar foundation is a government contract. All of them, Amazon and Tesla, it's all government contracts at the center of what they do. So when I found out we're being shut out from that, right, at that rate, so that's what set me off. But along the way, then we discovered everything. So it's like that on a state level. On the federal level, it's 0.5% of government contracts go to blacks, 0.5. Yeah. And then we found out that the wealth gap in the state of New Jersey is $20,000 is the median family net worth for a family. Median family net worth in New Jersey for African Americans is $20,000. In whites, it's $655,000, right? So we're finding out information like that. So all of this, and this is what I said, when you start to stick your finger in this, you'll find out so much more that's like, oh my God. So you sit around a group of people and this stuff starts coming out of your mouth, they're like, oh, I don't want to hear all that, right? Like,
I'm having dinner. I'm trying to have dinner.
So you find out all this stuff, and then it's just like the floodgates open. So then we find out that there's that's on the state level, but then in towns and cities have their own contracts and own way of doing business with these state contracts and city contracts and all that stuff. So we found out one of the members of the New Jersey Policy Initiative called us. He's from Newark. He's an old timer. He goes back to the 70s when you had black mayors, Sharp James, and he said, yeah, back then when Newark, the revitalization in Newark first started, he said we got together minorities and we made them. We held their feet to the fire, and we got a contract that every construction project in the city had to hire 25% minorities to do the work. No ifs, ands, or buts. And he said for many years that was the case. They'd actually opened up an office to oversee this, to go out to the jobs and to make sure that this was taking place. And it worked just fine. But somewhere along the way, it got lost. And while this law is still on the books, it hasn't been, nobody's been behind it in all of these years. And it's literally on the books. But politicians, even the black ones, won't step up to it and say, hey, this is on the books, this is law, and we're going to make sure that this takes place. They won't do it. And it's obvious why they won't, right? So they're afraid that the big companies will say, well, if we got to do that, we won't even build in Newark. So they keep their mouth shut and put that to the side, even though it hurts the people, right? And really, I guess the major problem too, and what we're going to try to dig into and change, is that people don't know about it. Here's some law on the books that says any major construction project in the city of Newark has to have 25% minority workers on it. Period. The end. Yeah. Period. The end. That's the law. And all we got to do is pick up that law, dust it off, tell everybody about it, and we think we'll change the hearts and minds of these politicians who are ignoring it. Like, that's what we have to do. Okay. So those are the kind of things we're working on. Those are the kind of things we discovered. And again, it comes down to if we can go to some of these, if we can go to the mayor's office, Ross Baraka, we can go to his office with 100 deep or 200 deep or 300 deep with signs saying you're robbing us, 25% of these projects belong to us, then maybe we can get something done. But that's what has to happen, Kevin. That kind of stuff. And there's so much more of that. Yeah, like right. Newark is a big city, and that's why we want to go after Newark, but it's happening all across the state.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So we're gonna run. We got 30 minutes. We're gonna run through this one. So, Markita, I do want to talk about the government contract. Everyone talking about the government shutdown, and you said it once. You had to change your whole business to make sure you got a government contract because you found out the only way you're ever going to make any money was with a government contract. So, tell a little bit about that story. I think that's very interesting.
Well, like I said, I'm a Class A contractor with a construction company that I co-founded with my ex-husband that we still run together. And initially, we had, our faces and our kids' faces. Our kids were like installing the floors, little picture, look, mom and dad, I can do it. The logo was a dove with the olive branch in its mouth, clearly a Christian organization, with the kind of religious, flair to it, and all our faces up there and our workers' faces up there. We changed the logo. We took everybody's face off of the website. So all you see is the floors. Mm-hmm. And that's when we started to get government contracts. And so it just, having experience in this and just kind of pushing this, and we do a lot of, commercial and government contracts at this point. Like we're doing a lot of those now, but having to shift that whole thing so that our work spoke for itself before they got a chance to see who was behind the work. Yeah. To kind of get our feet in the door. Because it's how subjective some of these industries are it's unknown to people. Yeah. That, even if there are certain laws on the books, you can get around them with the subjectivity of the people who get to make the decisions. Mm-hmm. And people are people. People make decisions based off of lots of different things. In the construction industry, you've got a lot of room to play with. Yeah. You can deliberately negate the lowest bidder by saying you think they don't have enough experience, or you don't think they can handle the job, or you think they underbid it. Like, there's so much play there. Mm-hmm. Construction is one of those that it's hard to regulate it. And so it becomes important that you kind of get in there and understand those political dynamics. And I don't mean politics, in the governmental level, but I mean people to people politics, how that works. Even in, working with commercial businesses, that B2B work, but then also in the government contracts, just kind of knowing how that works, and making sure you have things in place. Not to mention, the government requires a lot. Mm-hmm. To work with the government. There's a lot required. And when you're first starting out, you can't provide all of that. The licensing, the bonding, and insurancing. And there's so much, all the different levels of testing that I've had to do over the years, the things we've had to prove with regard to our financials and being able to get this type of insurance. And now, wait, you need this type of insurance. And wait, now we want this one on top of that one. And those type of things can bring minorities just completely out of the game. And some of it, honestly, is done intentionally. You got to kind of realize it. Some of it is on purpose because they know if they put this hoop or that hoop, there's a certain group that's less likely to jump through that hoop. Or it's going to be harder for that group to jump through that hoop when it really isn't even important. Right. So, it's important that you kind of know how to play the game. And there's one thing that, my parents' generation taught me is that I plan to be better than everybody else. And not that I think I'm better, but I understand if I'm not, I'm going to lose the opportunity. Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that I really want to pass on to, this generation of entrepreneurs that's coming up and just citizens in general, is that we've always known as Black people, I have to be better than everybody else and not a little bit better. I've got to be outstandingly the best because that's going to open the door for me to get in and to be able to bring other people in.
But isn't that how you end up with 0.14% of contracts less than 1%? Because everyone has to be in the 99th percentile to get. That's not a realistic strategy, right? You can't get from here to there. One thing, there was something that you guys were saying that I thought was important. We're going back and forth between motivating people because. Martin and I talked about this with the daycare. The daycare workers are having a hard time. Black daycare owners are having a hard time getting in the business. And we go through these different phases. I'm trying to figure out how, and Martin, maybe you get Markita to come with you down to New Jersey, that we know they're going to kind of cook the books, right? We know that they're going to say, well, we can't find these contractors because they got these rules. But that's why it's so deep. So I don't want to go do too much of this, but I do think this bears repeating. So DEI is a fallback position or a bastardization of affirmative action, right? And affirmative action was a bastardization or fallback position from quotas or from set-asides. And then set-asides were a fallback from quotas, and quotas were a fallback position from anti-discrimination, right? So in order, it's always a point that to make it easier on employers to not be inclusive, they kept making all these changes. So we get to DEI. It seems to me that in Jersey, when you do this thing, Martin, they're going to try to say, well, there aren't any qualified Black people, there aren't this, that, other. But I think having like Markita's experience, someone like that, to help you, other contractors, like, you've got Lynn out of Minnesota, having all these contracting people be part of your task force to go in and look at the books, because we need to prove discrimination, which I think we can prove discrimination based on the very, very low numbers as a violation of the statute. But I think but that's what in all these lawsuits, and so now I'm talking to you guys, so forget the audience, I'm just talking to y'all, right? Because you guys, every time you guys call me, you have to listen to me complain. So here we go. None of the contract, like all these lawsuits have been filed. They got rid of they got rid of affirmative action. They did all this stuff. None of the Black businesses funded lawsuits in defense. Like there was nobody funding lawsuits in defense. So as you guys go into this, Martin, that's going to be your big hurdle, right? That no one, even the people who have the contracts or the people who want the contracts, no one's willing to engage, and that's why we keep losing. But I think this is a winnable fight because Newark is clearly, being discriminated. Workers in Newark or companies in Newark are clearly being discriminated against. There's no way you get these numbers without active discrimination. And I think pulling contractors to help show how they're using the rules to be discriminatory is something I think is important.
Absolutely, I'll be willing to join you, Martin.
Thank you. Yeah, we could use all the help we could get, and I see the fight as a double-pronged approach, right? I mean, the first thing is we've got to get business, and I mean, look, my thoughts and my feelings were this, right? When I found out the statistic that the average startup business in America, 30% fail in the first 2 years, 30%. Yeah. But in African Americans, 80% fail in the first 18 months. Yeah, 80% fail. So what that tells me is that the 20% that made it are superstars, right? As an entrepreneur, I can tell you that the 20% who made it, they may be a little sloppy here or sloppy or whatever, but they're superstars. They did what they had to do to be part of that 20%, right? Yeah. So that's one thing. And then on the other side is, I know, being in New York, and I'll just talk straight, right? Especially in the construction field, it's heavily Italian. Mm-hmm. So if your last name starts with ends with a vowel, if it's Conti or Spascucci, or you got the job through your connections, right? You could be as dumb as a brick, but because your Uncle Joe knows the guy over there and went to school with him or came from Italy with him, then you're in, right? So that I know. So I see it as a double-pronged approach. One of the good things that came out of all this time of DEI, when it was viable, right, is that we got some Black people in some places that can do something for us. And the reason why we're not in those spaces is, one, connections like they have. The guy's Uncle Joe knew somebody, went to school with somebody and got him in. Even though he wasn't smart enough to be there, he's in anyway, right? So connections. And the other thing is access to capital. Those two things, I think, hold us back. And interestingly enough, we've identified some people who have gotten into the system, like Dr. Jeter, who was on a couple weeks ago with us from Jersey City. He's got a really powerful position. He's the head of DE&I in Jersey City, New Jersey. And he can literally really help Black people, and he wants to. He's Black. He literally wants to help us. So we got to lean into that, right? Lean into what people we have identified. listen, I had a call, Markita, the other day, a couple of weeks ago. I had the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. They have a program called the Local Business Enterprise Zone. That's their way of getting around DE&I, if you ask me, right? Newark is a black city, and because they have such proximity to the project, they get looked at. And this is a program where they're literally taking them by the hand and saying, we got to work everything out for you, your books, your this, your that, before we walk you in. Then we're going to hand walk you in when you're ready to interview with the majors so that you can get a piece of this, right? So we identified that, and we brought that to our organization. We identified a banker. PNC Bank is the largest bank in New Jersey. Their flagship bank is on Madison Avenue, Manhattan. There's an Indian gentleman who works for the community who Dr. Jeter from Jersey City introduced us to. He was on the call teaching us about banking. And then Dr. Jeter from Jersey City was on this call as well. So we found inroads here, and we're going to try to make it happen. But the larger overall problem remains. And so when I say double-pronged approach, I think we've got to get people work when we can get people work, and we've got to fight the system at the same time. And when it comes to what you were saying earlier, Kevin, about how do we get people involved, once we show people we can get them in a little bit, we've got to hold them accountable. All right. So now this organization's helped you. Now you got to help us. Right. So will this work? I don't know, but at least we tried. So to do everything to fight these people in Newark with this obvious glaring problem, with this contract that's been on the books for years, fighting that, trying to get people work, trying to do it all at the same time. I mean, it's all we can do. We got to throw everything we can at it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Markita, how do you and so what is your first couple of steps for your new organization? Like we talked a little bit about it. So I know the governor's race is tomorrow, and then that's just the first day. Then what happens next? What do you envision?
Well, of course, you're coming. We have an economic summit on Sunday, November 16th.
It was a planning question. That was a planning question.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's going to gather some business leaders, some ministry leaders together, some concerned citizens together, so that we can kind of present that it is time for us to unite. And I said it at the last one, because we had a summit in July. I said it then that we need to unite. But actually, getting behind something happening right in our region, not just, on a national level or whatever, but just right here, Central Virginia, Richmond and all the surrounding counties, making sure that we're, fighting for those things that are important to us, because this is really, it's a key to moving forward. But then, I got to say, and this is what I was hearing when you were talking to Martin, you cannot minimize the importance of encouragement, in that nowadays people don't commit to things, and this is hard. What we're talking about, I'm not just talking about the advocacy, but I'm talking about building a business and allowing it to sustain you and your family. Like I had to walk away from other opportunities so that I could focus on building my business. So for a while we didn't have healthcare, didn't have retirement, we didn't have those things. People bought us furniture and food and clothes while we were building our business, and we had to be okay with it. This is with a growing family, but a lot of times people are like, oh, this isn't working. It's not meeting it's not going to meet your needs immediately. Like you got to be in it for the long haul. This has got to be something you commit to. And this is what we've got to make sure that those who are being prepared in the programs you're talking about, in those opportunity zones and things like that, they realize this is bigger than them. This is for the next generation. It's something that you can call your own, and you can leave a legacy. Now, not only do we have benefits, but we're providing benefits for our employees. Like, we're able to do those things for others that we had to walk away from so we could start this, at that time. And it's so important. Like, when we started our flooring company, my husband then, he's my ex-husband now, was working for somebody else's company. And when they found out that we were starting this company, they fired him.
Wow.
So we got these little kids, and he had to come and let me know, hey, that money we were used to is gone. And I was like, that's okay. we're building our own. We have to move forward. But who has that attitude when what you were leaning on is gone because you're trying to build your own? You're going to still stick with that. We have to. We have to.
Yeah. No. You can't give up. I think that is, I in a time of my life, I used to kickbox for hobby. And in every karate school you go to, there's a sign that says, black belt's just a white belt that never quit. And that is, you don't get to the end unless you stay. So I 1,000% agree. Some people ask this question. So people want to know how to reach us, and they would like, if you guys have I don't know if you have the capability to put like Markita or Martin, if you want to put your emails out or your social media, how people can reach you. We can do it here.
Well,
or
mine
we can,
is easy because I've moved everything to one site, markitabrooks.com. That's pretty easy.
MARKITA Brooks.com.
Yep, markitabrooks.com. So I've got the upcoming event there. Then when that's over, I'm going to post how they can stay connected to the Central Virginia Economic Initiative. That'll be the whole point. And then, of course, you guys are going to follow up. We're going to make sure we're sending info to them. So that's the way to do it. But for me, that was just, I have a lot of stuff that has these long words and long, it's a lot. MarkitaBrooks.com.
Biblicalverses.com.
Right. I was just,
Well, so I don't, Tracy, is there a way like people can come back to this to the link here and get people's info? It'll be on the site, or how they can be able to find the people's emails. I don't know if she can hear me. But Martin, you want to give out your email or your?
I guess the easiest way actually is to go to FSI coalition.org, the main site, and then go to New Jersey Policy Initiative, and you can reach me through there. Okay. It's Martin at rapidrunstransportation.com is my direct email address. Martin at rapidrunstransportation.com. But in case you forget or didn't have a chance to write it down, just go to fsicoalition.org, the main site, and go to New Jersey Policy Initiative. Can I also say really quickly how important it is for us to lean into this together? I can't tell you how it's relieving and it's joyful to speak with Markita here and know she's out there doing what I'm doing somewhere else. If there's other people in other states that want to do this, please join us. It's so refreshing. And it's such a weight off my shoulders knowing that she's out here doing exactly what I do. I mean, I love Kevin, I love FSIC, and that's where I get all my strength from. But to know I have a counterpart in another state, it makes me feel more powerful, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it's the same on a lower level, like Marquis talking about. When we talk about, rather than going for a government contract by yourself, I'm trying to inspire people in my organization to talk about it to each other. So we know, like the New Jersey Port Authority, I want 5, 10, 15 people going for a contract, all sharing information, weighing in and leaning into this together. And that way, hey, if it's a major problem, if it comes up with everyone, then we go right to them and say, hey, this is a problem. We've all had it. This person's no good. This person's holding us back. You know what I mean? If we share information, if we do this together, share information and know we're in it. What's gotten me most, I know I'm getting a contract. I can get a contract now because I tried to help other people, right? I have contacts within Jersey City. I have contacts within the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey who actually reached out after we had that meeting. And in the future, in 2026, they want to partner with the New Jersey Policy Initiative to help them bring people in. Now, if I'm helping bring people in, what about me? Like I'm getting it. You know what I mean? Like that's not even a question anymore, right? Yeah, I feel so much more powerful and so much more in control of myself and my company and my company's future because I tried to help other people. So I inspire everybody to, if you got a problem, the best way to solve it is by helping somebody else solve their problems, right? The doors that open to you, the people that you meet, it's all God inspired. It'll change your life, change the way you feel, change the way you sleep at night, change the way you get up in the morning, change the way you go through your day. It'll change your life by helping other people. And we need all the help we can get. So I inspire everybody and anyone that wants to join us. Start an organization. We'll walk you. We'll take you by the hand and help you do it.
Yeah. No. The one good thing about the thing that makes me feel like I'm on my path is that I keep meeting people like you guys all the time, and so we really do have, like, almost anywhere in the country now, we have people that can help other people do stuff if they want to, and then that is a big deal. I mean, because we don't have that. I mean, it takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of resources, it takes a lot of time, the expertise, so it's like, it's a big deal. So I'm always appreciative when I can talk to you guys. You guys are inspiring, and I think from the conversations, the comments we're getting, people are hearing that and think that it's resonating with them. And we just got to keep moving. I mean, this is a long struggle. I mean, a long struggle. And the people who,
I'm sorry, if I can say just one more thing.
Yeah.
When you first told me to write to my Congress people, or I had the opportunity to invite some to one of my, I'm going to invite these people to my meetings, right? I'm all nervous, like, who am I, right? But I feel so powerful, and I can walk in front of any politician or anybody, right? And I'm bringing something to the table because I have FSIC behind me, right? It don't matter how smart I am. The smartest person is the person who can find smart people around and put smart people around them, right? So I've got the strongest black political think tank in America behind me. So when I walk in the room, I'm not walking in by myself. I'm just the face, but the brain and the power and these proposals I'm putting in front of you, they're well thought out, well crafted, on point, ready to go. Got the people who answer the questions and make it happen. So I'm just so empowered by you, Kevin, and by FSIC, and I want to thank you.
Oh, thank you. Markita, it's hard to top that.
No, I really concur, because I mean, there are times when I text Kevin, I'm like, hey, I need some stats on this. Hey, can you send me an article about this? What's going on with this right now? Send me something so I can send it to someone else. Like, there, you guys feed us so that we can share it with others, so we don't feel like we have to know all the information ourselves, or our area of expertise is not enough, because you do have people who are experts in all these other areas, and we're just pulling from them for what we need to do. And that's the only way we grow. We've got to do it together. It's the only way we grow. And so 2 more things I want to say is just that through my coaching business, Kingdom of LLC, I help businesses and ministries to start and scale to the next level, so that as we're going forward in this Central Virginia Economic Initiative, those who are struggling, I have those resources already in place, those products already in place to kind of help push that going forward, and even networks for the two to work together. So I'm going to bring all of that together in this upcoming coalition. And then lastly, I want to say to you guys, because we are in Virginia, you're in New Jersey, pray tomorrow and then vote.
Pray and then vote. We're going to close it out. I try not to make this longer than an hour. We literally, I think we did that thing in Houston that time. It went like 5-6 hours, and we still have more stuff. So we could do this all day. But one question I have for you guys, next week. So next week's show, we're going to have Lynn Pringle on. So you guys know, I think you guys know Lynn. And so we're going to talk more government contracts. But she's got more data, and she's got, she's working her angles. So she's doing advocacy. So we're going to have her and her people on from they're the Minnesota contingent. And you know her because she writes most of the policy stuff that the programming solutions to government contracting. She's written some, Martin, I think that you've submitted, and Markita will, once we get the Central Virginia up and running, we'll be able to go talk to the new governor. But anyways, I just want to thank you guys. If you guys want to close out with anything, any more events, I know Markita will put the events up that you have coming up on the calendar, on the website, send to people. And then Martin, I guess we're doing Jersey in December. The next one is in December.
Yeah, first week or second week in December.
Okay, awesome. Well, you guys are great.
I just want to say thank you, Kevin. You guys work really hard. You're the whole team FSIC, and we really appreciate you.
Well, thank you. Well, you guys make it worthwhile. It's all good.
And I want to say, I know there's a lot more Martins and Markitas out there. Please come and join us. We'd love to have you. Anything we've done or anything that we're doing, we're an open book, and we're a source for you to do exactly what we're doing. And something needs to be done, and you can do it. You really can.
No one's coming to save us but ourselves. That's right. For sure. All right, good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks, Markita.
Thank you, Martin.